Hello listeners, Devin here. Before we begin the show, we just want to say this was recorded on May 28th, so we didn't really mention or acknowledge current events. We wanted everybody to know that we understand times are tough right now, and perhaps you're listening to this to escape for a bit. We totally get it. However, Ethan and I agree that not saying anything is not the right thing to do. Silence is compliance. Silence is violence. Especially being two white dudes who have talked about movies or TV shows that have touched upon race or whatnot, we feel this is the right thing to do. Also, we fully support Black Lives Matter in the fight against police brutality and systemic racism. Please consider getting involved with Black-led organizations either through volunteering or donating money or both. I know for me, I've donated to the Baltimore Action Legal Team, along with Black Lives Matter and Minnesota Freedom Fund. Even if it's $1, we highly recommend giving it to the cause. We have a lot of work and growth to do, not just as Americans, but all over the globe. We all need to be better, including us. So I appreciate you guys listening, and now on to the show.
Howdy, howdy, Sonic fans. It's the 35th inaugural episode of the Sonic Movie Show, the only show that's about Sonic news, and the occasional Sonic movie news like last week. My name is Ethan, and with me here is Devin.
Your soul is mine.
It's good to see you, Devin. As you know, I'm your best friend, Ethan. Oh, wait a second. I'm actually your long-lost brother. All of a sudden, and standing before your eyes. You saw me standing here as Ethan, but now I'm your brother. and it's okay. I forgive you for my death that you had no involvement in, but at the same time, you knew that you abandoned me, and it's also technically your fault. I don't know why that's a moral.
Why'd you go to America?
Huh? Yeah. He's got. You have great hair though, Devin, in this film. If for some reason you already knew what this was about, yes, we referenced the 1995.
It's our birth year, dude. This is our video game movie.
We were a couple months old when this came out. 1995 classic, I guess. Mortal Kombat, released in 1995 for a whopping $122 million in the box office. Mm-hmm. One of the first, probably the first real big Hollywood video game movie. We're going to start doing this thing where periodically you'll hear a classic video game movie or maybe a recent classic video game movie. Get a review by us. This is basically a way to fill time. And what better movie to start this off with than Mortal Kombat? While not technically the first video game movie, and definitely not the first Hollywood video game movie, I think this was the first one that really, I don't want to say set the world on fire.
It was successful.
It made the most money. I would call it a success where Mario Brothers was bad and people felt burned, and that upset Nintendo very much. Street Fighter was goofy and an actor died right after that movie. Mortal Kombat is kind of like, yeah, this is not good, but it's fun. My kids liked it.
People like if you like Mortal Kombat, you know this movie and you know lines from it. You know the sound, the main theme that they have for it that is still a banger to this
Which
day.
I thought was for the second movie. I didn't realize it was in this movie. I was not expecting it. When it opens up, I think while the
New Line Cinema,
Fox?
yeah.
New Line Cinema. Well, that's up. I'm like, wait a second. Wow, okay. Yeah, we watched Mortal Kombat for your audio pleasure right now. We're gonna talk about it.
Before we begin, do you want to talk about Mortal Kombat and just the general history of it, or do you I don't want to go a huge in-depth into it because I'm sure people have done it, but
why don't, for every single time we do one of these video game movies, we start off with our own history of the game itself, the games franchise, as well as if we've seen this movie or not. And then why don't we go through kind of the impact of the movie, if it had one, kind of like the context around it. Then we can do a quick recap, and then kind of talk about, its legacy and what we kind of compare it to the video games, if anything like that.
Yeah.
So why don't you give me your Mortal Kombat history?
Well, I don't know the exact amount of games. I will say that I am a Mortal Kombat fan, but I'm not a super fan where I know every little thing and I've played every single game. I don't know how many Mortal Kombat games you personally have played. I've played first Mortal Kombat memory for me that I have is when I was probably 6 or 7 on our PS1. I don't remember which Mortal Kombat it was. I want to say it was one of the they had a collection of the classic ones on PlayStation 1. I forgot the exact title, but we played on there. I played against my dad, and I would just spam the same button as Sub-Zero or whatever, and he'd get mad at me because I didn't know what I was doing. I was just button mashing. And that's like my first memory of Mortal Kombat, and I would say it's probably my first fighting game. So it does have that, I guess, touch on me that like when I think of fighting games, I think of Mortal Kombat. Maybe I think of Soul Calibur because that's probably like my other big one that I've messed around with. But yeah, Mortal Kombat, I guess, has had that impact on me. And then
quick interjection here. The game you're probably referring to is called Mortal Kombat Trilogy for PS1
I think,
and Nintendo 64.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. I don't remember. I actually texted my dad before we recorded here, and I was like, hey, do you remember what Mortal Kombat was? What one we had? And he's like, I don't even remember. The only one I remember is he says, I remember we had Dino Crisis, Resident Evil, and the Toy Story racing game. So his memory has faded
Toy
on
Story
it.
Racing game.
But then after that, I played Mortal Kombat versus DC Universe was probably the next one I played.
So you jumped past all the really crappy PS2 ones.
Yes, but I do have one that I bought.
That were like Tekken. They were like 3D fighters.
Yes, but I do have one, Mortal Kombat Deception on PS2 that I got when I rebought a PS2 when I went to college. And I played a little bit of that, but I didn't really I played it maybe like 2 or 3 hours. But then I bought Mortal Kombat X on Steam, played a little bit of that. But I really haven't gotten into Mortal Kombat until I got into Mortal Kombat 11 that just came out. And I have probably about 20 or so hours in it. And that's the real, like, first Mortal Kombat I really, like, took time to be like, hey, what does this character do? Or
like, how do you play a fighting game, kind of learning it. Yeah.
Yeah. And I try to understand the lore. And I will say, I don't know if you know the Mortal Kombat lore, but it's very complicated. There's been some time traveling. And I will say that for the movie, since I haven't seen the movie, I've seen parts of it. I knew of the movie and how it's kind of memey. Actually, in Mortal Kombat X, the voice actor of Shang Tsung is Kari Hiroyuki Tagawa, who's actually Shang Tsung in the movie, the actor. He's also in Man in the High Castle, and I really love him in that as well.
I think I remember that news bit there.
Yeah.
The guy from the movie is in the game.
Yeah, and it actually makes it really cool. I know a lot of like Mortal Kombat fans were like, "Oh yes," because well, when we talk about the movie, I think he is a bright spot for sure. He's fun. But yeah, the Mortal Kombat like lore is super complicated. I did find a GameSpot article that was written right before Mortal Kombat 11 came out that kind of breaks it down pretty well. I'm not going to go through it all, but I will say that the movie has a different story than what happens in the games, because in games, like Liu Kang, like his brother, there's no brother. There's none. That storyline isn't there.
Quick, real question here. Who's the main character of Mortal Kombat? Is it Liu Kang?
He is the hero. He's the one who wins it all multiple times and is always like the guy who saves the day. I think even in Mortal Kombat 11, if I remember correctly, he's the one who takes back. He like saves the day by fighting. What's her name? She's like the main new villain. She like controls time, and he beats her, and then now he's in control of time. I haven't played Mortal Kombat Aftermath. It just came out this week. It's actually the day I watched Mortal Kombat was when Mortal Kombat Aftermath came out. I haven't played that yet, where it's going to take place afterwards. But I do know it's a little bit about what the bad guys do. So Shang Tsung.
Okay.
And what's his face there?
I wouldn't know.
Shao Kahn. Jesus.
Okay.
So Shao Kahn, Shang Tsung, there's a couple other bad guys, but those are like the main ones that you need to worry about. And you just need to understand that there's realms in Mortal Kombat. In the movie, they kind of don't talk about it too much, but in the games, it's like they drop it all the time that it can be confusing. So there's Earth Realm, which is like obviously Earth, like our land. But I know in the game, it's less like ours, but in the movie it's like, oh, it's just Earth. Like it's just, there's Hong Kong, there's New York City, there's San Francisco, all the major cities. But in Earth Realm in the games, I'm pretty sure like that there isn't really, it isn't as specific. Outworlds, which is like a bunch of merged other realms. Outworlds is where all the bad guys basically are from. Their goal is to merge all the realms into Outworld to make one giant realm that is controlled.
As one does.
So there's Outworld. There's Adenia, which is like the nice place. It's all peaceful. It's beautiful. It actually gets merged with Outworld at one point in one timeline, but whatever. There's Netherrealm, which is the other big one, which is like hell. There's actually a whole bunch of other realms that I don't even know about, but I'm not gonna.
Wow,
sit
so
here.
they named their studio after the place in Mortal Kombat.
Yes,
That's funny.
But
I mean, hey, if you're gonna name it after something, name it Hell.
Yeah, but yeah, there's Shinnok's another bad guy. But yeah, I would say that the movie plot.
Where's the Terminator coming?
I would say I don't.
What
he's
about
not in the
Joker?
He's not in the actual plot. He's just fun character.
Yeah, I know. That's one thing I know is that in the recent years they've had a lot of guest characters.
Yeah, there's Xenomorphs, Predator, all the serial killers there. Jason Voorhees.
And they carried that over because they also make the DC fighting game Injustice, and I know that they've had the Ninja Turtles in there and other characters that they probably couldn't put in Mortal Kombat, but are also like classic.
Because I remember in Mortal Kombat versus DC Universe, you couldn't fatality any of like the DC superheroes. So I remember with Scorpion, you couldn't just rip Superman's head off and be like, yeah, fatality. He just gets defeated. He doesn't die.
Fun fact. So Marvel versus Capcom, right? And the latest one was Marvel versus Capcom Infinite, which was like after, all these Marvel movies or whatever. So like this is that like new age of Marvel where there's a lot of eyeballs on it. So Disney wanted Capcom to simplify the game a bit because they had it was a 3-on-3 fight kind of system, right? So they simplified it. They included the Infinity Stones because that's Ghost right now. And apparently one of the reasons why that game ended up so bad, mechanics-wise, is because Disney didn't really like the idea of Marvel characters or of Capcom characters beating up Marvel characters. And so that's why in the trailer, if you watch the first trailer, they don't show any Marvel character getting beaten up by a Capcom character because a weird pride thing. So it's funny to hear that Warner Brothers was the same way with DC.
Yeah, I think it's kind of it's a little lame,
pretentious. Well, it's kind of like The Rock and Vin Diesel,
Yeah, but yeah, I would say that I was a little worried going to this movie. I read up a whole bunch, and a lot of it I'm now forgetting because it's so much information of the whole timeline of Mortal Kombat. I try to at least get the first couple games down, and basically the movie loosely follows that plot, but it's not even. There's a lot of minor plots that they put in there that aren't in the games. Like Liu Kang doesn't have a brother. Shang Tsung doesn't kill his brother. Liu Kang has nothing to do with Shang Tsung besides he has to fight him in the game at the end. Actually, Liu Kang beats Goro in the game. When in the movie we'll find out that, spoilers, Johnny Cage beats Goro. So just minor stuff like that. But the general premise is Raiden is the watcher of Earthrealm, and he has to pick people to go fight in Mortal Kombat. So in Mortal Kombat, the idea is if a realm wants to invade another realm and merge it, it must beat the heroes of that realm 10 times straight. So in the movie and also in the game, Goro has won 9 straight tournaments, so one more and Earthrealm is finished, and it will be merged with Outworld. So, and Shang Tsung is the one who's doing the tournament, but I always forget his name. Jesus. Plays him all the time, too. Shao Kahn, who leads Outworld, he's the leader of the Outworld.
Was he in the movie?
He's the one who wants to merge the realms, but Shang Tsung is kind of like that bad guy who's helping him out because he also wants world domination. Just bad guys being bad guys, that's all you really need to worry about. Also, one plot that they didn't even touch upon in the movie that I think is kind of important to the lore of Mortal Kombat is that Scorpion and Sub-Zero have beef because they're 2 separate clans. Shang Tsung confuses them, and Sub-Zero kills Scorpion. Scorpion gets sent to the Netherrealm, I believe, and then he comes back from the Netherrealm and kills Sub-Zero in the tournament, and then Sub-Zero becomes Noob Saibot. But they don't even talk about that in the movie. That's really the main differences I saw. Shirai Ryu is Scorpion, but yeah, all lore that like if you care about, you can go read yourself. I just think everyone looks cool. That's my biggest thing with Mortal Kombat.
Interesting. Well, my history
Is the other one.
with the franchise is very, very, very minimal. I too also first played Mortal Kombat Trilogy, but I played it on N64 at I guess, downtime day at karate training or karate lessons in
It's a good place
grade.
to learn it.
Yeah, that was one of the games on offer, was the Mortal Kombat Trilogy, and I was playing as the dude who was in Shadow, and he was like a ninja. There was a lot of palette swapped characters. I
think I was Smoke. If he's gray and looks like Scorpion.
It looks like Scorpion, just put black.
Yeah, it's Smoke, yep.
There was a lot of color palette swapped characters in those, I remember.
Yeah, Reptile's one of them, too.
And just like you, spammed the same move over and over again, and all the kids left because it was just me winning, I guess. But other than that, I never really played any of them besides playing 11 with you at your house a couple times. I've been more of a Street Fighter person, but to be honest, fighting games were never really my main interest, so it's not like I would have experienced a lot of them either. So
yeah,
all I know is that the games were terrible up until the recent few, like 9, 10, and 11, were ones where it was like, all right, let's actually make a good fighting game. And I know that 11 and even 10 have amazing story single player modes, and it's like they're doing really well for themselves. So
I also want to say that it's matured, I think, more just even within the last 5 years, like especially the women characters. I think Ed Boon, who's been on the project, he actually did part of the writing for the movie. He's been part of Mortal Kombat forever.
I know that Noob Saibot is named after him.
I just want to say, like, they've, I think, matured. Like, yeah, it's still fun and like hyper violent, which I guess you can argue with your whole video games cause violence, which is bullshit, by the way.
No one's growing an extra set of arms and ripping someone's head off.
Yeah, but like I think they've done a better job of, like, for women especially, like not making them overly sexual. Especially, I know it was really bad in Mortal Kombat, the reboot, the 10th one, I believe, where like just big ass titties and they're like showing so much skin, but it's not even like sexy anymore. It was just like
now, while
over the
I
top.
agree 100% with you that this is the right approach and it's mature and it's actually taking things seriously, one argument you could have, though, to counterbalance that is that what is the identity of this franchise? Why not cater to that? But I don't agree with that.
Yeah. I was gonna say that, like, they've made updates to like Katana where she, you know, her boobs aren't huge. She looks like a ninja would. Not saying they can't be sexy. You know what I mean? There's a difference between that. It could be more tasteful than just over the top. Might as well make them naked. Bullshit. I just feel like they've done a better job. I believe it's Sindel who they just added, who in the past was like, I think, one of the worst ones where she was overly sexualized. She still looks great in this game. Like, she's sexy as fuck, but she isn't like over the top where it's, I'm like, oh, I feel ashamed playing this. It's just like, oh, she's badass. And like,
when will Soul Calibur do that?
True.
I feel like Ivy gets less and less clothes.
Yeah. But that's a whole other topic. We're both not women. So, I mean, my girlfriend, like, I was talking to her about it, and she says, like, how she agrees that, like, oh, I think that's much more tasteful, and I think that's cooler, and, like, it's less, you're not sitting there being like, I don't want mom to catch me playing this. You know what I mean?
Right.
But,
well,
anyways, yeah.
Let's talk about the movie itself. I guess we'll do, like, a recap thing. I can do it if you want. I'm not going to remember
you're the
everything
recap
beat
guy.
by beat.
I mean, this whole movie is kind of jumbled to begin with, so I think it's fine if we're a little over the place.
Dude, I can visually see my thoughts and my memories of this movie fleeing my brain and heading out the window. So we should start this. So yeah, I don't know what year it takes place in. I assume 1990 something. I think it's supposed to be contemporary. Yeah, present day. We see a dream sequence where a young man is killed by another man who we know is what's his name?
Shang Tsung.
Shang Tsung, and he looks straight at the camera and says something like, "You're next." Then we see Robin Shao, a.k.a. Liu Kang, or not Liu Kang. Yeah, Liu Kang. Right? The main dude, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not pronouncing
his brother
I'm not
died.
mispronouncing his name.
That's
yes.
the one Shang Tsung
He wakes up in what looks like a concrete bunker. He's got a bicycle on the wall, so he knows that's his apartment. He gets outside and he's doing stuff. Oh, he gets a Western Union. He gets a money order, essentially, for, I guess, a plane ticket to come back to China. And I would like to say, now, while I understand that he is, like, I guess, the main dude, so it'd be hard to not have the movie center on the main dude, but I'd like to say, like, yeah, it's a little nice to see an action movie like this is not led by an American, especially since the Street Fighter movie, which came out the year before, didn't use Ryu as its main character because he's Japanese. Instead, they did the all-American Guile, the Air Force pilot Guile. He's the main character.
Yeah, that's true.
So it is nice to see that they, nope, the Chinese guy is gonna be the Chinese guy. And he's gonna be the
And
main
I just
guy.
we mentioned it earlier, his hair. His hair is incredible, and his overall, I just want to say his physique, and all the actors, most of the actors who like did most of the fighting, I'm glad.
I would say just him, but
not all of them. I'm saying like Liu Kang and Shang Tsung. Like I appreciate the time. I could tell they put time into those bodies. Like they were swole at some moments that I was like, damn.
We'll get to it, but there's definitely a large canyon in quality of fight choreography between the ones with Liu Kang and the ones with maybe anyone else. So I know we cut around a lot. I think we then cut to a 90s nightclub, one of the classic ones where people are standing on high risers.
I've always wanted to go to those. Like, where's that happening? I want to go to one of those.
No, it's not safe, so probably not any time anywhere here. We see Sonya Blade, a.k.a. Shotgunny McShotgun, because she shotguns someone with pretty good accuracy, considering how far away he was. But again, video games delude us in terms of what a shotgun can do.
I believe
she's talking to someone named Jax on the phone.
Yeah, I was going to say Jax.
He's a character.
Who I love Jax in Mortal Kombat 11. He's really fun to play as.
She's hunting down a guy named Kano. He's got a robot eye. Oh no. Oh snap. Oh no.
I will say that, granted, I haven't played all the games. Once again, let me make that clear, so don't kill me here. But I feel like Kano, out of all the casting, that was the best one. Like I think he got Kano down pretty well. I forgot the actor's name here. Let me.
Oh, I looked at them.
Trevor Goddard.
See if I knew who any of them were. Yeah, she's hunting Kano, but I don't know. This is one of the things where I couldn't really tell, because we see Kano and Shang Tsung, right? The bad guy, Shang Tsung, talking. I don't know if that was in the same building or not, but Kano is basically Shang Tsung's minion now because he has to do things. Otherwise, he's gonna have to go see an eye doctor. I get it, because he has a robot eye. Then we cut to Johnny Cage, who
is on set.
Yeah, if this movie was made nowadays, he would have been played by Ryan Reynolds.
I was gonna say they are making a new Mortal Kombat movie, and I'm like, Ryan Reynolds should definitely be Johnny Cage. Holy shit, you're right.
Yeah, that's 100% when I saw him and some of his terrible, corny lines and like.
But he's always corny in the games too.
Yeah, but I think this is trying to take itself a little bit more seriously in this movie. But. Yes, I understand what you're saying. Yes, Ryan Reynolds would be a great Johnny Cage, though. And he's upset with what he's doing, and he knows that the press is after him. But he sees an old friend who tells him, who hands him his ancient scroll, says, you need to go to this fighting tournament, and then you're going to get all the fame and glory you want. And before he even opens the scroll, he's just like, so how do I get there? You just gotta go to here and this boat picks you up. Okay, and then he opens the scroll. Like, wouldn't you be like, the hell are you handing me? Is this a prank? But whatever. It's a 1995 movie based on a video game that's just trying to get people to the thing where the thing happens. So it's fine. It's serviceable. We cut to Liu Kang visits China. He sees all of his old Buddhist buddies. They're all like, why the fuck did you leave us, bro? And he's like, I don't have an answer. My brother dead? And they're like, yeah. And it was kind of your fault, but also it's not your fault. and I don't know which way.
Yeah,
who said what.
It was confusing. And then Raiden shows up, and like he's like, "Oh, you're not Raiden," but like he's like, "No, I'm Raiden, dog."
Yeah. Am I a bad guy? Am I a good guy? I don't know.
Oh man, I remember Bryn being disappointed in Raiden in this movie. She likes Raiden. I think that's her favorite Mortal Kombat character, and she's like, she was just like, the whole time about him. He's very not Raiden. I guess
you humans are so unpredictable. And then they fight God at the end. Spoilers. So, yeah, they're like, you need to go and save the world by going to this Mortal Kombat tournament. And so then we skip ahead, and now there's a boat coming up, and we got our 3 heroes at the docks. We got Robin Shao's character, Liu Kang. We have Shotgun Ladies there, Sonya Blade.
But she's hiding because she's trying to look for Kano.
Yeah, and we have the other dude there, the actor guy, Johnny Cage. Again, I can see my thoughts leaving my brain physically.
I do like the scene with the, I don't know, it's still weird, but like I kind of like it. Where
he throws the luggage.
Yeah, he throws the luggage. I'm just like, and I also like that he gets more luggage after every time they show him with the luggage. I thought that was funny.
At first, because you don't see the luggage on frame until he throws it, and then he walks. So I'm like, motherfucker brought one suitcase and he wants someone else to carry it for him. But then, yes, you're right. He gets more and more
until it's
luggage.
Ridiculous. Yeah.
So they get on the boat. I don't know if we saw any scenes on the boat because I was probably checking Animal Crossing.
Yes, there was like they sort of Shang Tsung first encounters our heroes, Johnny Cage, Sonya, and Liu Kang. And like I don't know if it was a threat or being like, I don't know. It was really weird. And then Scorpion and Sub-Zero show up and they're about to fight, but then Raiden's like, "Nah, dog," and quickly like stops it. And they're like, "We can't fight now."
Right. Yes.
For some reason.
Hasn't begun. Yes.
I was gonna say though, at this point, I'm like, they showed a couple fight, like they did like a fake fight with Johnny Cage against the during like this filming session there, and like up to this point, I'm like, oh, are they about to go fight? And then like they don't, and I'm like, oh, come on, show me the fights already. They should have started with like a fight right off the bat, but yeah. So they get to
the island. They're walking in water.
Which is an Outworlds. This was filmed in Taiwan, by the way, and I will say that the beach scenes were pretty. I'll give them that.
So the first scene that's in daylight, that's actually of note. I understand when he went to China it was in daylight, but for the most part, anything that was important was happening in such a dark area. It was hard to see what was going on until this scene, and then another scene later on the beach. But we're in a dining hall now. Everyone's eating and everyone's happy, but nope. Shang Tsung's here, and he's like, "Listen up, bitches." And they flip all the tables over. It's all that good food goes to waste.
He's like, "This is what you're going to get
like,
for the rest of the time here.
This is what's going to happen now. Here's an example." And then Sub-Zero and Scorpion pop up.
It was Sub-Zero versus...
And then a random dude, and he freezes him. And then he lands. And then Scorpion sticks his hand out, and just a tiny little head pokes out. Which
that was when he was on the
question.
Ship.
Is it organic in the games, or is it
no? It's literally just a blade. So that's the one thing I'm like, why did they do that? I think a blade would have been just fine, but whatever.
But it needs to be a part of him, otherwise it's going to be weird. It needs to be organic. So yeah, and then that happens, and like, oh shit, I guess we're not eating, right? Then Liu Kang fights a dude, right?
Well, the trio tries to go explore to figure out what's going on. Oh, we forgot to mention that Liu Kang and Katana keep looking at each other, and they got them eyes. You know what I mean? Like,
gotcha. So that's why they like held hands at the end of the movie.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I do believe that in the games they kind of have like a relationship. They're always with each other, but I don't know if it's romantic.
She's like 10,000 years old, buddy. She's
yeah, but is that in Earth years? We don't know.
So I'm just gonna skip ahead to like the first fight. I think that's where it's like
They overhear
versus...
Kano and all that, but then they catch him, and then they wind up fighting a bunch of.
That's right, and then they kick all their asses.
Yeah, and this is when it really, I guess, not starts to pick up, but like this is the first real fight I would say in the film. Liu Kang, I think, is definitely the best fighter out of all of them, and it's not even close. Physically, and just actually is better at faking it than everyone else.
Sonya, yeah, we'll get to her. Raiden pops up and he's like, "Oh, good job, guys, but what are you gonna do about them?" And as they look over and just to see people that have been, I guess, watching the whole time with weapons and ready to go, yeah. And they're like, "Oh shit, we're gonna die." But then Raiden's like, "Nah, it's not your turn. Remember, I'm a thunder god. I'll kill all of you. Let my people go." Johnny Cage says, "Oh, you're lucky he stopped us." Just completely bluffing is the word I want to use, but I thought that was a good line. Then we get the Liu Kang versus that one dude that I don't know
next day. Yeah, it was like the next morning. Liu Kang versus the dude with a staff, but then they don't use the staff.
Right. But then they do use the staff.
They kept giving him like a tiger like growl. I'm like, is he supposed to be like half animal or something? I don't know what that was like. I was waiting for him to like turn into a tiger, legit, because that's how Mortal Kombat works sometimes. But nothing happened like that. It was just a buff dude who could use a staff.
So he beats him. And then this is when I think we get revealed that Shang Tsung takes the... I need to see it written down, a lot of these names, to put them to faces. Takes the soul of the loser, but I don't remember, it does... well,
because I think he said finish him. He told Liu Kang to finish him.
Does he kill him?
No, he doesn't, because Liu Kang, I think, doesn't understand that, like, this is a fight to the death. But yeah, later on, there is no fight to the death between him and Katana, which I'm like, okay.
Yeah, that was a weird fight.
I also want to say, this isn't his fault, but he says, Hiroki Tagawa is Shang Tsung, he says flawless victory way too much, to the point where I'm like, no, flawless victory is supposed to be a respected term in Mortal Kombat, all right? That's when you don't get hit.
You didn't get hit at all.
You don't get hit at all, and you beat him.
It's a perfect.
But and he's literally dropping it.
Just doing the movie line.
He's literally dropping it like it's no big deal, and I'm like, dude, he actually got hit definitely a couple times. I'm like, what do you mean flawless victory? Just say victor.
Next we get a scene where Kano is just eating his heart out, right? He's just yum 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 yum, lovely, and he's talking to Shang Tsung, right? Shang Tsung's like, "Don't get too fucking cocky, man. Remember Goro? He's our 9th in a row champion. He's gonna get you in." And then Goro walks in, looking like Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer puppet, being like, "I'm Goro,
I don't
I'm
think
the
so.
best."
I think it looks a lot better than it for like the 90s. I was actually like, that actually doesn't look terrible. All things
he looked a lot better than the weird invisible guy and
reptile, yeah.
And Scorpion's chain.
Yeah, there's a lot of like
thing.
This looks
so
like
he looked better, but
this looks like the CGI you saw in like early 2000s.
Well, there was also a person.
Video games.
The person was mocapping and acting that. I might have even been a suit, and then there was another person doing the voice. That I know because I watched it on Amazon. I wasn't gonna resubscribe to Netflix just for this movie. I'll pay the $2 just to watch Mortal Kombat once. But so I saw the X-ray thing while I was pausing it. And then Kano's like, "Oh well, I'm a tough guy too. I'm also from an underworld of thugs and criminals." And then I think it just cuts to Sonya fighting him.
I think that conversation was way earlier when they were eavesdropping, but
okay,
that happens, yeah. And then Kano just has the worst fight against Sonya Blade I've ever seen.
They both have the worst fight. But you're right though. They bill Kano as this tough mercenary badass. He's Deadshot from DC, maybe just visually because of the one robot guy looking thing. He's a badass, and that is probably the worst fight scene I've ever seen in a movie.
It's pretty bad.
Him. It's terrible.
And like she chokes him out with her legs, which her
it's,
legs
it's
aren't like
the end of her legs.
Yeah,
they're not muscular.
Yeah,
and she breaks his neck with them.
Yeah, I wanted more from that. Like at this point too, I was just kind of disappointed. Like I'm like, okay, Liu Kang's fine. Maybe he can pull me through this movie. But then like that happened, I'm like, there was no blood. Like I wanted her to get stabbed, or like him to get stabbed with the knife that he carries that he never used.
But it's just like you can watch both of them, even him, whoever played Liu Kang, or not Liu Kang. No, he was a good. Robin Shaw played Liu Kang. His choreography was good. The guy that played Kano and the woman that played Sonya, you could tell that they're doing their moves a little bit slower than they would have normally if they had rehearsed this a lot, and you can see the gears turning in their heads of like, okay, and then now I connect with this.
It's like amateur wrestling,
he does that.
But even worse than that.
It was, I mean, we get some cleavage shots, yay, I guess, but other than that, like, I don't see why anyone that's a kid watching this in 1995 being like, wow, this was just as good as when Liu Kang fought the dude with the staffs.
Yeah.
You know?
There's definitely like, I think there's definitely a gap in martial art skill level and just choreography in general.
We all had 2 days to practice this.
Yeah.
Go. Yeah.
It looks like they tried it in a day. Like if me and you try to orchestrate a fight, that's what we would come up with at that speed.
And it was very brief, so I almost agree with you. It almost looks like that was a 1-day thing.
Like, okay, scene 1, Sonya and Kano.
Question. I'm raising my hand. Question. Calling me. Question.
Yeah, Ethan?
Why didn't she bring any guns?
I don't know.
Isn't that her thing? She
I don't
has
know.
the fucking guns.
Yeah, she has like pistols.
And she had a shotgun in the beginning of the movie.
Yeah.
Like, everyone else got to bring their weapons. No guns.
I mean, in the games, she's more of like this general officer, kind of like high-level military person.
Yeah, and her daughter takes selfies. That's who I played as. When I was playing at your house.
Yeah.
So then we get Johnny Cage versus Scorpion, right?
Yeah, what's weird is they did a cut to that in the woods, Scorpion. And I'm like, why are they in the woods? I thought, and like they go through different like dimensions or realms, which is fine, but I just wish they established that before the forest scene. It just made it really bad to like cut from that shitty
it just
fight.
Looked like there were no rules.
Yeah, they went from that shitty fight to like, okay, now we're in the woods. What's gonna happen here? And all of a sudden, Johnny Cage is just wandering in the woods, and I'm like, why is he in the woods? Like, I need something.
His fight scene goes on 10 times longer than the Sonya Blade fight scene, and while I didn't really care for his fight scene either, I understood why. Like, I'm watching this, I'm like, yes, this is why they had her fight one person for 30 seconds. Because she can't do that.
I was going to say, when they get teleported to the bone dimension, or whatever that is, I actually did appreciate that
bone
fight.
realm.
It wasn't, like, martial arty, but, like...
You could see the sense of modern day action movie fights where we're using the environment. We definitely have mapped out the environment and we're using it. Like, we're going to jump up here and he's going to flip off this thing and then he's going to smash him through this. And, you know.
Yeah, I like that one a lot more. Like, up until that point, that was my favorite fight. Just because I'm like, nothing else has been like environmental. Because when I think of Mortal Kombat, I do think of using the environment to my advantage. You know, like in the old games, if you hit a guy at a certain time, he'd fall down and land into a bunch of spikes for a fatality. Like, and that's cool. You know what I mean? So, and then like that was the closest in the movie to like, I'm like, okay, that's more of a Mortal Kombat fight that I was looking for. And Scorpion bursts into flames, and I'm like, cool.
Yeah, I liked that. I did like when he became Buzzsaw Captain America. I thought, he's being smart. He's picking up a knife and a shield that's also a blade, and he's using them because this guy has an advantage because he can do supernatural shit, and you're continuing to fight him with your fists.
Yeah.
Yes, pick up the buzzsaw. Thank you. Use it as a shield.
I do think that shield, though, was, who's not in the game, but
it's the dude's hat.
Kung Lao. That's his hat, I'm pretty sure. I think that was a little Easter egg. I do like that they had Scorpion take his mask off to become the Skull, like Ghost Rider. Because in the original games, that was one of his fatalities, was he'd take the mask off and torch the other person to a skeleton. So I'm like, that's cool. I like that.
And as I'm sure you saw on Twitter, the new Mortal Kombat animated film, Warner Brothers Animated Pictures intro has more Scorpion take Daffy Duck to hell. So,
yep.
I actually would watch that. So we'll probably have that on our list at some point. So then it's Liu Kang versus Katana.
Yeah, and which is another lame ass fight.
Doesn't
where she's
she
like, "Don't
use fans?
fight me," or like, "Not," or no, "You're going easy on me. You
She's
can't do
giving
that."
him advice for the next fights. But doesn't she in the game use fans?
Yeah, she's literally like not anything like Katana. She doesn't dress like a Katana. Like, if you didn't tell me it was Katana, I'd been like, "Who's this woman?" Like,
who are you, woman?
That was another lame fight.
She also looked like she did not learn how to fight, just like Sonya Blade. But
yeah, because I can tell,
it's
like,
the '90s.
Robin Shao,
action stars.
I was gonna say Robin Shao, like, was definitely slowing stuff down for the actress, 100%.
Yes. What's he also been in?
I'm looking right now.
Because I can see an alternate history where he became the next
Death
Jackie
Race,
Chan type
newest one.
Really?
He's in the next Mortal Kombat Annihilation. He's in Sleeping Dogs video game. He's in Street Fighter: The Legend of Chun-Li, 2009.
That's on our list. He probably plays the character that's basically
I don't see anything in here that I know.
Interesting. Because his acting wasn't super great, but he could have been a physical martial art comedian type of actor like Jackie Chan was. Who is one of the richest people in the world. Can you believe that? Because he owns so many businesses in China. Yeah, so he fights her, and she isn't really giving her all, and Shao Tsung is like, "You're embarrassing me." He's her adopted dad or something, right?
No, so Katana, this is also in the games. She is adopted princess of Shao Kahn. So if anything, if Shao Kahn dies, she becomes the leader of Outworld.
Oh.
In spoilers, in Mortal Kombat 11, she becomes Katana Khan.
Is she a bad guy?
No.
So then all she has to do is kill her dad and then, like, make a peaceful world.
Well, she does fight back in the games. She does fight back against her dad, but yeah.
Okay. Well, then the next fight after that is Raiden versus Sub-Zero, and the helpful advice that's extremely cryptic instead of just saying use fucking water. She says use the element that gives life. And now there are many interpretations on that, I imagine, and I think it might be obvious to a lot of people that it's water. My first thought was the sun. Because
air. You need air to breathe.
But, like, all life on Earth is
light,
because of the sun. Because of the heat and the light, right?
Yeah.
So that's my first thought. And I guess Iceman could have melted, but whatever. One of the things I really was disappointed in with Sub-Zero and Scorpion, I understand this is a 1995 film and budgets and effects and blah, 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 blah. They do most of the time, they're just standing still, using their power instead of fighting with it, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, Scorpion stands still and says, "Get over here," and has this thing chase Johnny Cage through the jungle, through the woods, through the weird, like, manicured forest. Looks like it was planted artificially. Instead of chasing him and using it while moving or something. I understand, like, in the game, he stands still and does it to pull them over. I get that, right? But, like, Sub-Zero should leap into the air and throw an icicle down, like in Mortal Kombat or Street Fighter, any kind of fighting
shoots
game.
like an ice ball that, like, maybe Liu Kang jumps over it and it hits like a pot behind him and it freezes and shatters and he's like, "Oh no!" Like something, or he like ices.
If
his
someone
fist.
had a piece of clothing or armor on, then it could hit that and freeze up. So he takes off, and that's how we know. Oh shit! This would hurt. So, but instead, it's just let me stand here and kamehameha until you learn to throw water on.
Like
me.
at least, like I get, like that's kind of cool, but like that should have been done like for him like before the fight being like, I'm showing off my skill, you know what I mean?
Right.
Like, but not in the fight. I'm not going to stand there for 35 seconds to maybe freeze you,
punch you in the face.
Yeah, I'm really disappointed in
an actual
Sub-Zero
fighting game.
And
I imagine it just came down to effects and budget. So then he beats him by freezing him. Maybe cut his head off to be safe. I don't know.
Well, he gets impaled by the water that he throws at him because it freezes.
I guess an argument someone like me could have that doesn't really know Mortal Kombat is like, well, isn't he made out of ice or something? So then that wouldn't actually kill him.
No, he's a human being.
But
no, never mind. He's a ninja.
Now it's now Luke, isn't it? Let me work through my mind here. Now, Shang Tsung takes Sonya Blade hostage because she's a woman and this is a damsel in distress situation.
That's after Johnny Cage beats
Goro.
Okay. Yeah.
So he fights Donkey Kong, aka Goro.
I will say I do appreciate that I was waiting for it. They did the Johnny Cage nut shot. That is a move that's been in all the games where he does a split and then does a uppercut punch to the balls. I do appreciate that they did that.
In the games, does it affect women less than it does men?
No, I don't think so.
Oh, damn.
I do know that RoboCop in the new game, he'll shoot your dick off if you're playing a male character for a fatality. But if you're playing a woman, he'll aim at the dick and then move up and shoot him in the head.
Huh.
That's funny.
So yeah, he fights Goro, pushes Goro off a cliff. He says the line he said at the beginning of his part in the movie. It's a callback. Then Shang Tsung takes Sonya Blade hostage, goes through a portal. Our two male heroes go to rescue her through the portal. Go through the portal, and we're in, I imagine, Outworlds, yep. Outriders, Outlands, Outworld. And they're attacked by the chameleon dude. That's his name, right? Chameleon?
Reptile.
Well, he's like a chameleon, I guess, because he goes invisible.
There is a character called Chameleon, though, so you gotta be careful.
Oh, shit. Okay, well, he fights Reptile. Or Reptile attacks, and Robin Shao gets the better of him, throws him into a corpse. Then the corpse comes to life.
It becomes Reptile. That's some anime bullshit in there, but I like it. I'll take it, because it's like, I don't need to know why that happened. Because, like, I knew that because Shang Tsung called him Reptile, and I'm like, Reptile's like a color swap of Sub-Zero,
okay.
But he's also like half dinosaur, because I guess in the game, Raiden fights, I think, I forgot who he fights. One of the bad guys, Raiden fights him and like has to go back in time at some point, and him going back in time to the dinosaurs creates Reptile. That's a species of people, is half dinosaur, half human.
That's dumb.
Whatever. But like obviously in this, it isn't like that.
Yeah.
So.
Well, it's just like in the Mario Brothers movie, how they had to say Goomba. Like they made it's like he's like a dude instead of a Goomba. But he fights Reptile inside a building because he crashed through a wall or something, and for some reason Johnny Cage just stands outside.
He's like, I don't want no part of that. I saw how that happened. That's supernatural bullshit.
Why wouldn't he come to fight?
I don't know. I will say though, that's my favorite fight, I think. And I know like Shang Tsung versus Liu Kang later on is cool, but I think that's my favorite fight. I just think Liu Kang just really like shines, and he does the classic bicycle kick to finish him off. The woo thing that he does. Yeah. Love it.
Corpse opens up. He smashes Reptile to bits. Then our two heroes continue on, and for some reason Sonya Blade has changed clothes and has a new hairstyle to really sell the damsel in distress vibe. She's like, I'm not gonna fight you, and he's like, you have no choice. Aha! And then our heroes come up, because I guess she's not a hero anymore, and he's like, well, I'll fight you, Johnny Cage, instead then, because I know you're a pussy. And then Liu Kang's like, no, you're going to fight me. It's my destiny. Because he's been having these visions or talks or whatever about he can't run from destiny, and every man makes their own destiny. And even though you abandoned your brother and he died because someone murdered him, it's not your fault because every man's his own destiny.
Yeah, that's a weird logic, being like, if I had the opportunity to save my brother, I would every time. You know what I mean? Like, why would I ever be like, oh, sorry, I can't do that because it's my destiny?
Lack of knowledge on mayonnaise aside, you would have saved him. So they fight.
No one's going to get that.
And that's the best fight in the movie, just because they're two people that clearly know how to do martial arts.
I will say that
fighting each other.
Shang Tsung, a.k.a. Hiroyuki Tagawa, he was 45 in that movie, and he looked amazing. Like, his arms were great. And I'm glad that Liu Kang, Robin Shaw, he had a lot of shirtless scenes, because I needed to see that work. I needed to see it.
And then at one point during this, they do the thing I referenced at the beginning of this movie, where he runs up the stairs, sees what's his name? The
Shang
bad
Tsung.
guy. Shang Tsung. I almost called him Shao. Shang Tsung standing there with his back turned. Then Shang Tsung morphs into his brother, turns around, is like, "Hey, brother, it's me."
Yeah, that
and
happens in
this.
It's not just this movie, but it happens in other movies where, like, there's some guy or some villain that can change. I think Loki do this in Avengers or something?
Yeah, but it's never like on screen where the character is watching the whole time.
But I feel like there's been stuff like that before, and it's always the same Hollywood bullshit where it's like, "Oh, I can't hurt you because you're my XYZ." You know, like, I'm like, if that happened to me, I'd be like, "No, I literally saw you change to him, and I know he's dead."
So dumb, but he doesn't fall for this shit, man. He doesn't fall for it. So they fight, and they fight, and they fight, and for some reason the souls are leaking out of Shang Tsung. Oh yeah, Shang Tsung kills the one guy Johnny Cage knew, I guess, absorbing his soul, because Goro kills him.
Oh yeah,
that's right.
And during that, I totally forgot about that because that character was like irrelevant. Like, they never talk about him. He's shown like once or twice, and then they kill him, and they're all like, "No." Like, why do you care about him? You haven't shown me anything to care.
Fighting advice, and it's so lame. If you and I were expert fighters or good fighters, right? And maybe we had a couple of other friends that were fighters too. And we knew we were in a fight to the death tournament, and I was watching you, Devin, fight this gigantic 4-armed monster to the death. I wouldn't just be like, "Yeah, just do the left.
You got him. You got him."
You got it, man.
Oh, nice.
Like,
I punch him once, and you're like, okay.
Get the fuck up. You know what I mean? You'd be freaking out. You'd be like, come on, because you'll die. Yeah, so, okay, Shang Tsung's souls are leaking out of him, and he does the one thing where he pushes him off, and he lands in the spikes and dies. He dies on the Mortal Kombat logo.
Mm-hmm. And then he says flawless victory or something.
Even though he definitely got the shit kicked out of him, too. And then the soul of his brother comes by to say, "I actually do blame you for all." No, I'm kidding.
He says, "Thanks, fam," and then flies.
Yeah, and he flies away, and then they untie Sonya Blade, and they're walking out. Johnny Cage is like, "Nice dress," and she's like, "Ugh, ugh." We're like, okay, well, maybe he's just trying to be like, "Hey, relieved this is all over," kind of a talk. Like,
yeah.
Also, why the fuck were you in a dress? Then as they're walking out, Katana joins them, and then they see Raiden, and Raiden's like, "Hey man, glad you guys did it. I had no idea you guys were gonna do it. Humans are so unpredictable, man."
This is back on Earth too, by the way.
Okay. And then God comes out of this temple.
No, not God. That's Shao Kahn.
Oh, okay.
And he's saying, "I'm going to invade you," because in the Mortal Kombat games, this kind of happens where, like, eventually they just stop doing the tournament. They're like, why do we wait for a tournament to decide whether or not to invade other realm? Like, who cares about the rules? And that's why, like, elder gods are brought in the game, which is...
Oh, is that, like, the nature lady I played
Yeah,
as?
she's an elder god. So, like, that's why, like, she gets involved. Chronica, which is... I forgot the name of her earlier. She's the time god, I believe, or one of them.
Like Chrono Trigger.
Yeah, so there's a bunch of elder gods that are kind of apathetic to everything, so they don't really care too much.
Is Raiden one of them?
Raiden's, I believe... I don't think he is. He's like the tier below. He's still powerful. He's a god, but he's not one of the top ones, I don't think. But that might have changed in the game. There's too many titles. There's also Titans.
So unpredictable
in the games, so I don't know.
Which is the female Goro I saw in the trailer for Aftermath a Titan?
No, I think she's just a leader of either the Baraka army, because Baraka is like a type of species of thing. I forgot what they are.
Isn't he like a rock man?
No, he's one with the spikes that come out of his arms.
Maybe I thought those were rocks.
I don't know. They're like bone, kind of like a pre metal Wolverine, where it's just kind of like bone comes out of him.
And then the movie, they just get into fist fight formation, and then the movie ends.
But maybe that's where the sequel comes in. So they pulled the Sonic movie where they dropped a little something at the end that I think Mortal Kombat fans were excited about. Because I'm like, I actually was like, damn it, I want to see him fight Shao Kahn. As bad as this movie is, I do want to see him fight Shao Kahn.
It's just a weird, now here's Act 4. No, never mind. I don't know, it was weird, but I can't really hate on a corny 1995 film that's not trying to be Citizen Kane. So,
but yeah,
that was Mortal Kombat. We don't want to rank any of these kinds of things.
No,
because this isn't a big deal. But let's just, I watched this movie because I was interested. Because I know you really like Mortal Kombat, and I think it's my turn to watch it or play something that you want that I don't care about, since I made you play a 40-hour video game and watch a cartoon. So I think I need to do my dues. But I was very interested because I had seen the Street Fighter movie with you before in the past.
Time ago, yeah.
Long time. We'll watch it again for this at some point. Maybe not necessarily next time, but at some point. So I'm like, I want to see what the Mortal Kombat. I knew the theme song, right?
Test your might.
I did not like this movie, and I don't think that it's a good movie, and I don't think that's necessarily a hot take.
Oh, I don't think people like this movie because it's good. I think they like it because it's bad. I think if you're a Mortal Kombat fan, I will say that, this movie is trash, but at least it's fun bad. Where
that's a good way of putting it, because there are bad movies that are boring, that I would much rather see something that's terrible instead of something that's just boring.
This reminds me a lot
of... This movie was bad, but it was something that you could put on and make fun of, or you know what I mean? You could still enjoy how bad it is.
I just liked, in the beginning of the movie, they dropped that song, that theme song, and I'm like, let's go, dude. I was hype, and then, it's just this movie is so bad, though. Then they play it during certain fight scenes, and I'm like, okay, and then, I get what they were trying to do. There's a lot of things I would have done differently. Johnny Cage should have been more of a douchebag, and also slightly sexier. I wanted him to unbutton his shirt a little bit.
They need to hire someone else to play Sonya Blade.
Yeah. Katana should have been more of, just actually Katana, instead of just being a cute princess girl who maybe fights. I don't know. Scorpion Sub-Zero should,
They could have gotten the woman that played Princess Warrior Xena to be Katana. She almost kind of looked like her, but Xena was at least built.
Yeah, Scorpion Sub-Zero, I was disappointed for sure, because I know it's lame, but out of all my Mortal Kombat favorite characters, I do like Scorpion and Sub-Zero. I know it's everyone's favorite, but whatever, they're cool.
They're more visually iconic than anyone else. I did not know who anyone was until they said their names, except for those two. Just because, I know what they look like.
Yeah.
I probably could have guessed Raiden if they never said his name, but I wouldn't know Liu Kang. I wouldn't have known. I guess maybe I would have known Johnny Cage.
I think they just could have done made him more douchey. He looked like just if me and you grew up in the 90s, if we were going to our office job, he was just wearing a button-up dress shirt and 90s nicer pants, and I'm like, that's what you're going with for the entire. I was waiting for him to change. He brought all those suitcases, and I was waiting for him to bring a goofy outfit out, like he is in the games, where he's kind of wearing more of not dance clothes, but I guess you can call it that. Just like douchier clothes. Like I'm just like, give me
Yeah.
like that's what his character is. He's a douchebag superstar who thinks he's all that, but he's actually maybe not. You know what I mean? And then Sonya Blade, like, or not? I don't know. What they could have really done any different.
Recasted her. Someone else that would have given more effort.
But yeah, those are the kind of like things I would have changed. Kano, I thought I did like, except for the fight scene, but I did like him as the person who portrayed him. Shang Tsung is perfect. I love Cary Hiroki Tagawa. I think he like the fact that they brought him back to be in the game, and even when they did the advertising for him when he was coming out, they got the song back and everything for it, and it like actually was super hype, being like they just embraced it. Like, yeah, this movie's trash, but he was one of the bright spots, and like he's fun, and they brought him back in the game. They have the theme song and everything. And I'm like, yes. So I was excited to see him in it, and then him pointing to the camera and saying "Your soul's mine" to me is like the coolest thing in this movie. So, yeah, this movie's definitely bad. There's pacing issues. There's a lot of plot holes, weird cuts. The effects definitely don't stand up to time at all.
Yeah, it's hard to really fault that though. But like,
I appreciate them for trying because they had the technology at the time, and I bet in the '95 we would have been like, "Whoa." You know what I mean? So,
yeah.
And I'm glad that it had its own plot. It wasn't trying to follow exactly what the game is. Now they know what the game was, the plot lines are. That like it had it just did its own thing, whatever. This was directed by Paul W.S. Anderson.
Yes. Well, I agree with pretty much everything you've said. Any final thoughts on Mortal Kombat?
I'm excited to see what they're going to do with it because they are remaking one. Like, it's not going to be anything connected to these ones.
Okay. I guess that makes sense.
With new actors, obviously, and everything.
Ryan Reynolds. Let's get him.
Let me see, actually, real quick, who's in the new... Because I know they confirmed the cast. Because they were actually filming...
Oh, really?
Before they started... Or before coronavirus came. So we have Jessica McNamee. She's Sonya Blade. She's in the Meg, Battle of the Sexes, The Vow, Chips. Okay. Hiroki Sanada is Scorpion. He's in one of the Wolverine movies. He's in the Wolverine as Shinjin. He's also Akiko and Avengers Endgame. Oh, he's in Sunshine. I remember that movie. He's Twilight Samurai. Okay. Raiden is Tanabu Asano. I don't know who he is. Oh, he's in Thor Ragnarok. Thor. Okay, so a lot of these people have been in like Marvel movies, so maybe they're trying to go the Marvel route of like having this fun comedy but action packed thing. If they can do it even close to like any Marvel movie in the last 5 or 6 years, I'm totally on board. Yeah, I'm looking at this list here. No one really I know until I click their profile here. Yeah. Anyone else? Yeah, I mean, I can go through the whole list here, but I'm not going to do that. You can go look it up yourself. But
and that's a next year movie, right?
It's slated for
2021. Yeah,
January 15th.
That's what I have written down.
But I don't know if that's happened. It says post-production, so maybe they are done filming. I thought they were still filming. Okay.
Well, we'll have to do that as an actual review when the movie comes out for sure.
I'm hyped.
As well as any other video game movies.
I kind of hope they keep the song. Or do a remix.
They'll do a really bad like Eminem remix.
Oh no! Do not do Eminem, please.
Or they'll get a freaking what's his name? Tattoos on his face.
Post Malone.
In any case, Post Malone. There you go. We're gonna be doing these kind of video game movie reviews periodically throughout the year, and when any actual video game movie comes out in theaters, if those exist by the time these movies comes out, we will review them when they come out. I know the first one, it looks like that's on the docket. It's coming out this year. Is still Monster Hunter, and then Mortal Kombat. So those will happen. Just stay tuned. Instead of a regular SMS episode, you might see a review of Tomb Raider or Resident Evil or Doom, Max Payne, etc., etc. Need for Speed, remember that? We might talk about it. So keep an eye out on the regular Sonic Movie Show feed. We only have one feed for all the things we do, so it's pretty easy to find all that stuff, which can be found on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, Google, YouTube, Stitcher, Pocket Cast, and pretty much anywhere. Just search Sonic Movie Show and you'll find us. You can follow us on Twitter. The show can be found at Sonic Movie Show. Ethan, can be found on Twitter at Ethan Absolutely. Devin can be found on Twitter at CURSONA YouTube. And let us know what you thought about this 1995 cult classic, Mortal Kombat. Until next time, see ya.
Test your might.